Agent Laura Bennett had spent 15 years with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives before buying her dream retreat. 5 acres of wooded land with a cozy cabin on the edge of Lake Willow. The property bordered an elite gated community, Willow Creek Estates, infamous for its rigid rules and zealous enforcement. After years of high-stakes missions and tiny urban apartments, Laura had saved for this haven. The prior owner, an aging botanist, had nurtured native plants and crafted winding stone paths through the woods. The cedar-sided cabin was simple but solid, with big windows framing the lake and a wraparound porch ideal for quiet nights. Laura fell for it instantly, outbidding developers to claim it. Her first weeks were blissful, fixing the dock, clearing branches, and setting up an office in the loft. The only hint of neighbors was the faint hum of boats from the Willow Creek Estates Marina, half a mile down the shore. Laura introduced herself to a few residents while kayaking, earning friendly waves, though some stressed their community standards with pointed looks. 3 weeks in, an official-looking envelope appeared in her mailbox. Inside, a letter on Willow Creek Estates letterhead, signed by Cynthia Caldwell, HOA president, claimed part of Laura's new dock jutted into community waters and demanded its removal or face $250 daily fines. A shoddy map showed property lines clashing with Laura's closing documents. Trained to stay cool under pressure, Laura didn't flinch. She reviewed her records, confirmed by county files that her property stretched 60 feet into the lake well beyond her dock. The next day, she visited the county assessor, securing certified survey and deed copies. She drafted a calm, firm reply, attaching the documents and clarifying her land wasn't under HOA rules, as it wasn't part of Willow Creek Estates. She hand-delivered it to the HOA office, where a tight-lipped receptionist took it. Warning, Mrs. Caldwell rarely rethinks her decisions. A week passed in silence. Then, notes started appearing, cards slipped under planters or tucked in her screen door, citing violations like unapproved paint hues or non-compliant mailbox. None were signed, but the HOA letterhead was unmistakable. One evening, grilling on her porch, Laura caught movement at her property's edge. A woman in pricey workout gear was snapping photos of Laura's tool shed. When Laura called out, the woman identified from the HOA website as Cynthia Caldwell strode over. "Your shed's too tall," she declared, voice dripping with authority. "And that grill's too close to the trees." Laura replied evenly, "This isn't HOA land. I sent proof." Cynthia's smile tightened. "There's been a lake boundary mix-up for years. The old owner didn't fight, but we're fixing it. Expect new documents soon." After that, Laura installed security cameras. Footage showed Cynthia's nightly visits, moving garden decor, pinning violation notices on trees, and, most brazenly, shifting property markers inward a few feet each time. 6 months into this escalating feud, Laura was drained from constant vigilance. She'd reported the trespassing and tampering to local police, but officers, many tied to Willow Creek Estates, brushed it off as a neighborly spat. In mid-June, Laura was called to a 2-week assignment in Nevada, probing a smuggling ring trafficking illicit liquor through legit fronts. Exhausted but victorious, she wrapped the case, eager for her cabin's peace. Driving home, Laura noticed fresh gravel on her private path and unfamiliar tire tracks. Checking her security app, she saw vehicles and people on her land while she was gone, mostly near the lakefront. Too tired to investigate, she grabbed her piled-up mail despite her hold request. Among the junk was a thick, cream-colored envelope addressed to the Thompsons at 24 Willow Creek Drive, a nearby estate home, mistakenly delivered to her. As she moved to seal the unsealed envelope, a glossy card slipped out. A wedding invitation for Sophia Caldwell, daughter of Cynthia and Edward Caldwell, to Nathan Harper, set for June 30th, 5 days away. The venue photo chilled Hera professional shot of her lakefront, edited with a white pergola and chairs, captioned, "Ceremony and reception at Willow Creek Estates' new event space, with breathtaking waterfront views." Laura's pulse raced. Accompanying cards detailed guest lodging, parking at the estate's visitor lot with a path to the lakefront venue, and a menu with an open bar boasting premium spirits and local wines. She called the HOA office, reaching a chatty new secretary. "Oh, the Caldwell-Harper wedding? It's the first event at our new lakefront space. Mrs. Caldwell's worked hard to claim that land for the community. When Laura revealed she owned the property and questioned its legal use, the secretary faltered. Well, Mrs. Caldwell said the land would transfer to the community by month's end. She's collected over $30,000 in bookings for summer events. Some board members worried about moving forward without final papers, but she showed documents saying it's a formality. Laura walked to her lakefront. New survey stakes marked a boundary 50 feet onto her land, swallowing her favorite meditation spot under an oak. A laminated sign read, "Future home of Willow Creek Estates Event Pavilion, opening June 30th. Years of ATF training steadied her anger. This wasn't just a property grab, it hinted at fraud and licensing violations. Instead of confronting Cynthia, who'd likely cover her tracks, Laura gathered evidence. At the county clerk's office, Clerk Agnes, a 30-year veteran, pulled files. "Someone's been meddling with your land," she said, handing over boundary adjustment applications filed by Cynthia for the HOA, claiming Laura's survey was wrong, backed by notarized statements from neighbors, one deceased, another long gone. None were approved. Agnes added, "There's a pending event permit and liquor license for a wedding on your land, June 30th, via Prestige Catering." At the zoning office, Laura found Cynthia's plans for a permanent pavilion on her lakefront, falsely listing the HOA as owner. Back home, she scoured social media, finding a Willow Creek Estates waterfront venue page with photos of her land, digital pavilion renderings, and booking details. Posts hyped the wedding, mentioning an open bar with signature cocktails. One showed Cynthia on Laura's dock, briefing caterers about the bar setup. Laura saved it all. Prestige Catering site touted their liquor license compliance false if serving on her land with fraudulent permits. As an ATF agent, Laura knew this was her turf, alcohol licensing violations tied to fake documents. She called her supervisor, Deputy Director Alan Foster, a decade-long colleague. After sharing her evidence, he said, "This isn't just a neighbor feud. The property fraud's civil, but the alcohol violations are ours. The caterer should have verified the venue's status." Laura asked how to proceed. "Document through the wedding prep," Foster said. "We'll sync with local police. If they serve alcohol on disputed land with bad permits, we've got cause to act." He paused. "You're not itching to crash a wedding, right?" Laura replied, "I tried settling this nicely for months. They've ignored laws, filed fake papers, and planned to profit off my land. The wedding's their deadline, not my aim." Foster agreed, adding, "Warn the couple. They might not know." The day before the wedding, Laura woke to vehicles on her land. From her window, she saw rental trucks and vans at her lakefront. Following Foster's advice, she'd sent certified letters to the Caldwells and caterer, stating her ownership and banning events. Delivered 3 days prior, they were ignored. Laura brewed coffee, sat at her kitchen table with a lake view, and recorded the scene via laptop camera. By mid-morning, workers had transformed her lakefront. A white tent pavilion, rows of chairs facing a floral arch, string lights in her oaks, a dance floor over her meditation spot, and cocktail tables scattered about. Cynthia arrived at noon, clipboard in hand, blonde bun severe, directing workers with regal gestures, twice waving dismissively at Laura's cabin, smirking toward her windows, fishing for a reaction. Laura stayed hidden, recording. At 2 o'clock, Prestige Catering's refrigerated truck delivered food trays and cases of champagne, wine, and spirits. Laura's camera caught liquor bottles missing tax, stamps likely bought out of state, to dodge taxes and quantities excessive for the guest list, suggesting resale. She texted Foster. Potential tax violations plus licensing issues. Multiple cases without stamps. He replied, "Documented. Team briefed, on standby for tomorrow." Evening brought a rehearsal. Sophia and Nathan practiced their roles, Cynthia nitpicking Sophia's steps. Nathan looked uneasy, glancing at Laura's cabin, once gesturing to the property line. Cynthia hushed him fast. Post-rehearsal, workers set up security lights along the estate's path for guests. A trio band tested their sound, soft music floating over the lake. Bartenders prepped 3 bar stations, practicing cocktails from the venue's social media. One questioned the license. The manager pointed to a framed permit fraudulent, Laura knew. By midnight, Workers left, leaving a surreal scene under security lights. A guard patrolled the HOA side, eyeing Laura's dark cabin. Laura sent Foster her final update, then tried to sleep, knowing tomorrow would reshape her ties with Willow Creek. Wedding day dawned with flawless blue skies and a soft breeze planter's gold. Laura skipped her routine, checking in with her team via secure messages. Local police would form a perimeter. ATF agents would target licensing and alcohol violations. Keep low visibility until service starts, Foster ordered. We need clear proof of violations. Laura dressed sharply dark slacks, navy blazer, white blouse, credentials tucked inside. Her weapon stayed locked. This wasn't that kind of op. She ate lightly, watching early prep, florists with fresh blooms, caterers with warming stations, band unloading, bartenders polishing glassware, unaware of the missing tax stamps. By 10 o'clock, the lakefront buzzed. At 11 o'clock, Sophia and her entourage arrived in luxury SUVs, vanishing into a bridal tent, their chatter echoing. Nathan and groomsmen set up in another tent. Photographers snapped candidates. Cynthia, in a pristine suit, juggled calls and last-minute fixes, twice glaring at Laura's cabin. Noon brought guests from the estate's lot, in suits and dresses, hugging and air-kissing. Laura spotted the mayor, 2 counselors, and the sheriff's wife, explaining the police's earlier hesitance. A string quartet started at 12:30, signaling the ceremony. Laura messaged Foster, 120 guests seated. Service imminent. He replied, team's ready. Proceed as planned. At 1 o'clock, the music shifted to a wedding march. Groomsmen and bridesmaids paired off. Nathan stood nervously by the officiant, flower girls scattered petals, and Sophia, radiant in a long-veiled gown, walked with her father. Her smile warmed as she met Nathan's eyes, and Laura felt a pang. This couple might be pawns in Cynthia's game. The ceremony flowed, vows, a unity candle, a cousin's poem. By 2 o'clock, the officiant declared them married, applause erupted, and the quartet played a lively recessional. Guests moved to cocktails, servers passing champagne, bartenders pouring, photographers staging lakefront portraits. Cynthia mingled, basking in praise for her venue, hinting at future galas. From her cabin, Laura watched through binoculars, snapping shots of the fraudulent permit and untaxed bottles. Her chest tightened. Operation, nerves mixed with regret for the couple. Alcohol service confirmed, she texted Foster. Phase 2. He replied, proceed. Teams moving. Laura checked her credentials, activated her earpiece, and stepped out, hearing her team's quiet chatter. 3 unmarked vehicles neared via the lake road with 6 ATF agents. For outside jurisdiction, officers approached through the woods. The celebration's noise grew. First dance done, Sophia's father prepping a toast. Laura waited, unwilling to ruin his speech. It ended with warm wishes, applause, and clinking glasses as the band resumed and servers refilled drinks. At 4:30, with the party in full swing, Laura signaled her team, now in position. She straightened her blazer and strode to the reception's heart. Guests noticed, curiosity turning to confusion at her deliberate pace. The band stumbled mid-song as Laura took the stage, grabbing the mic from the stunned singer. Good afternoon, she announced, voice clear over the hushed crowd. I'm Agent Laura Bennett, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. She flashed her badge, sunlight glinting off the seal. I need your attention. Murmurs spread. Sophia and Nathan, at the head table, looked shocked. Laura continued. This property isn't Willow Creek Estates. It's my private land, and you're all trespassing. Additionally, alcohol is being served without valid licenses, using fraudulent permits. Gasps rippled. Guests grabbed phones. Sophia paled, Nathan's glare fixed on someone behind Laura. Cynthia shoved through, red-faced, lunging for the mic. This is absurd. This land's ours. We have papers. Fraudulent papers, Laura said, keeping the mic. She nodded to an agent, who handed her a portfolio. Laura passed Cynthia documents. A cease and desist on your false claims, a trespass notice delivered 3 days ago, and a warrant to inspect all alcohol here. Sophia sobbed, face buried in her hands. Nathan stood, arm around her, glaring at Cynthia. I know this upsets the couple, Laura said gently. This isn't about you or your guests, but illegal use of my land and unlicensed alcohol service. To the crowd, you have 30 minutes to leave. The caterers being cited for serving without licenses and distributing untaxed spirits. ATF agents moved to the bars, logging bottles and questioning shaken bartenders. Police held the perimeter, ensuring order. This isn't happening. Cynthia hissed, composure cracking. Do you know who's here? The mayor. The wedding raid blazed through Willow Creek Estates. By Monday, local news ran headlines. ATF agent halts neighbor's wedding, and HOA head faces fraud allegations in land grab. Social media split, but as Cynthia's fake documents and alcohol violations surfaced, opinion turned against her. Tuesday's emergency HOA meeting packed the room. Residents demanded answers about $30,000 in event bookings and the HOA's legal exposure. Cynthia, deflated, resigned and slipped out, dodging reporters. Laura faced backlash hate mail accusing her of ruining Sophia's day but also support from neighbors fed up with Cynthia's tyranny. 3 residents shared their own disputes with her, revealing a pattern of shady fines and boundary grabs. A week later, while tending her garden, Laura saw an unfamiliar car. Sophia and Nathan approached cautiously. "We're not here for trouble," Nathan said. "We want to apologize." Sophia offered an envelope with a note expressing horror at learning the venue truth. "Mom said the land was legally the community's, and you were a stubborn neighbor blocking it out of spite. We'd never have gone ahead if we knew." Laura invited them in, serving lemonade on her porch. She shared surveys and footage of Cynthia's nighttime marker moving. "I don't recognize her in these videos," Nathan said, stunned. "We're selling our estate home," Sophia added. "I can't face the neighbors, and I need space for Mom." Laura asked about Cynthia's legal trouble. Nathan nodded. "The DA's pursuing fraud and document falsification. Alcohol violations went to state authorities, and the caterers suing her for losing their license." 3 months later, tensions cooled. The new HOA board sent Laura a letter recognizing her property lines and apologizing for Cynthia's actions. They proposed a permitted community land gathering to welcome her, signed by all 7 members, including 2 who'd flagged Cynthia's abuses. The event, at the Real Community Pavilion, was warm. Neighbors mingled freely, saying Cynthia's exit had lifted a cloud. The new HOA had publicly affirmed Laura's rights, presenting a framed, county-recorded map of her land. Cynthia faced steep consequences: fines, community service for fraud, and civil suits. Financial strain forced her to sell her lakeside mansion at a loss. County records showed she bought a small condo 3 states away, her real estate bio touting HOA expertise. Laura hoped she'd learned about boundaries literal and figurative but kept her cameras rolling, just in case.